Welcome on the Gods Chosen. Everything you thought you knew about your life will be totally changed as a consequence of what happens in the following few minutes. The veil that divides the worlds has started to thin, and you are now on the verge of a discovery that will shake the very foundations of your existence. Only 3 souls have been marked out of the 7 billion souls that wander the earth. Not 30 or 300, but 3. And your name stands out at the top of that list. The initial location, carved out by forces that predate time itself, drew its first breath. It was not a coincidence. It was never a coincidence, nor was it a game of chance. Those cosmic builders who designed the blueprint for the universe put your name there with purpose and intentional intent. They have been studying you since your birth, examining every single moment, choice, and breath you have taken. Are you having chest tightness right now? No, that is not a worry. Instead, it is understanding. Although your brain is having difficulty accepting it, your soul is aware of it. The invisible eyes have never looked away from you. They saw all you went through, even when you cried alone in the dark, when you overcame insurmountable difficulties, and when you rose back up after being crushed. The weight of existence threatened to destroy you. However, they watched your fortitude in the face of that threat. They assessed your capacity to endure forces that would shatter the bones of lesser creatures. At this time, all of the cosmic machinery has finally aligned. The gears that have been whirling for millennia have now snapped into their proper position, in preparation for what will come. The stars have transformed into the exact arrangement that is needed. Your time has come. Not tomorrow or the next week, but now. Get a feel of the atmosphere around you. What a difference, don't you think? Stronger, with more possibility for development. You've been sensing this unmistakable tension, the strain building up like a storm poised to explode for many months. This is the climax of a struggle in the unseen realms. At this point, the war that has been occurring outside the understanding of ordinary people is starting to creep into your reality. You've experienced it when everything appeared to slow down, when synchronicities occurred so often that even the most skeptical portion of your thinking couldn't reject them as coincidences. Your whole nervous system has been working hard to prepare for this moment. The strange dreams, the surprising realizations that arrive out of nowhere, and the way that random people stare at you now, some with unfathomable adoration, others with evident terror, are all things that have changed. What is happening right now is more than just a passing moment in time. That much is clear. It is a change in the universe to accommodate who you are going to become. The basic rules of the universe are being restructured as the cosmos reshapes itself around you. There will be no going back to the world you were used to. It is already disappearing, and the particles that comprise that form of reality are rearranging themselves into something new, depending on your awakened potential. The decisions you do in the future cannot be reversed due to the intensity of what is going on. The track that was behind you has already been obliterated. You were simply a cocoon in your prior existence. Now is the opportunity to become who you were always meant to be there in front of you. You only have 2 paths: compromise, middle ground, or half measures are not an option in this case. There is the first option, which leads to mediocrity, the life of a sleepwalker and the existence of individuals who are unaware of who they actually are. Taking this road allows one to feel the comfort of the familiar, the security of constraints, and the quiet despair of unfulfilled potential. This is how the vast majority of individuals, or 99.9%, will live and die, leaving no impression on the wider universe in front of you, like a lightning bolt frozen in time. The second route, which is your path to dramatic change, is the only thing it guarantees. It only promises one thing: power. That's beyond understanding. It promises nothing but elevation, which is out of reach for those who formerly thought they were on equal footing with you. Many others have stood where you are now, similar to how you're being tried. Several others have been tried. They faced the same dilemma and crossroads. However, the bulk of them failed. They were overcome with doubt, paralyzed by fear, and poisoned by the words of those small-minded animals who sensed their potential and sought to eradicate it before it threatened their comfortable mediocrity. Before I produced you in the womb, I knew you existed. I set you aside. Jeremiah 1:5. Imagine this. You are a seed, buried deep under the dirt, not lost and not forgotten, planted and concealed for the season. Not because you are worthless, but because your roots must grow deep before you can climb high. God never intended for you to blend in with the garden. You were always destined to become the towering oak, not the plain grass. And, like the seed, the pressure you experience is not punishment. It's time to prepare. Your body, on the other hand, was never intended to blend in with society. Your DNA is a stubborn force that opposes conformity. The very atoms that make up your body vibrate at a frequency that disrupts the mundane. Even as a youngster, you were conscious of your differences from others around you. You were neither superior nor inferior. You were fundamentally different. Some of you have spent your whole lives attempting to suppress that difference. You've covered it up, laughed it off, and attempted to normalize yourself. But deep down, you know you were created to disturb the norm, to break the mold, to stir the seas. You are not here to take the same old road. You're here to carve a path through the wilderness and call it purpose. Allow me to tell you something. Heaven has been waiting for you. Yes, not a passive. Yes, no, not terrified, but imbued with a daring spirit. Yes, your actions right now will decide everything. This very moment, this breath, it matters. This is your burning bush moment, your divine interruption. Have you determined to claim your due position at the cosmic table? Would you be prepared to accept the responsibility that has been laid aside for you since before your birth? Alternatively, would you falter, hesitate, and join the ranks of those who were nearly chosen but ultimately rejected destiny? God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the caller. And guess what? You have been called. Now get up. The chosen one. You have a world to shake. Examine your life in hindsight. Recognize patterns that have always existed, even if they are concealed from view. At times, it seemed like time was bending around you. Dreams that were fulfilled. Later in the day, folks who came at the exact time you asked their aid presented you with exactly what you needed before disappearing without explanation. The copies of the books that were accidentally opened to the page that you needed to read, and the songs that were played at the exact time when their message would have the greatest effect on the listener. It was not a coincidence. It was never a random coincidence, nor was it simply simple luck. You have not been guided by a hazy, benign world. You have been guided by a force that is both clever and intentional, and it moved the pieces on the board with surgical accuracy. Right now, pay attention. It is possible that this is the most significant warning you will ever get. Being chosen alone is insufficient. You have also been targeted. People who are near to you, in whom you have trust, whose words ring true in your mind, and who are not who they seem to be, are all around you. This person's existence in your life is not coincidental. It is neither a gift nor a desirable outcome. They were formed in that area, then meticulously planned and assigned a single mission: prevent you from establishing your control over the issue. They progressively placed doubts in your mind, and you came to feel that the notions in your mind were your own as a result of their activities. They planted the seeds of insecurity, which grew into forests of limitation. You're not here by chance. If you sense a tug, a deep feeling that you have been selected, now is your time. Click the super thank you button and contribute $50 or more to get deeper insights. unique information, and a path that fits with your divine destiny. This is not only a gift, it's a proclamation, a step toward being the person you were intended to be. Take the call, walk with us, and totally embrace your destiny. Your adventure starts now. Now look about you. Who is it that continues to sleep, undermines your values and goals? Who usually makes practical recommendations? When discussing something higher, who, although seeming to be helpful on the surface, leaves you feeling fatigued, perplexed, or less confident after each interaction? This is your last warning. Remove this influence from your life quickly, or you will be forced to watch them knock you down just as you are starting to climb the success ladder. They are a jail guard acting as a guide, and they resemble an anchor dressed as a life vest. The age of unwavering faith has ended. Your perception must be as keen as a razor. Right now, every seemingly innocent word, suggestion, and inquiry must be analyzed to see whether it contains any poison. Because of your elevation, the existing order is jeopardized. Never forget that the circle that has kept you prisoner, the never-ending cycle of limitation, betrayal, and lack, is about to come to an end. Have you ever had the sense of the earth trembling under your feet? The phenomena is the breaking down of the old world's basis. Systems designed to keep creatures like you contained are failing in their goal. When they sense they are losing control, their power sources run dry. Their architects are fearful. You are entering a frequency where nothing or no one can affect you. This includes those who are skeptical. People who are skeptical and the masses who are narrow-minded and cling to their restricted notions like men drowning while clutching driftwood in a storm. You're here for a purpose. If you feel called, answer it. Click join to get access to rare information, in-depth insights, and a strong community. This is not just a membership. It is an awakening. Step into your divine mission. Join the chosen people who have previously ignored you, looked through you as if you were transparent, spoken over you in meetings, rejected your ideas only to claim them as their own months later, and will now be forced to acknowledge what they have been trying so hard to ignore. It will be difficult to deny your presence before your physical form enters a place. Your energy will charge it with positive energy. Everything is experiencing transformation. The weak are collapsing, exposed as the frauds they have always been. You find yourself at the heart of this cosmic rearrangement, where the powerful are rising up and demanding the places that have always been reserved for them. There is no metaphor here. This is not about symbolism. This is a literal restructuring of your physical world, in order to create way for the more expansive expression of your being that you are becoming. There has always been something about you that others have struggled to identify. They were attracted to you because of something that made them uncomfortable while also being a characteristic that you value. Your voice vibrates, creating a sphere of energy that broke the numbness they had mistook for peace and found reassuring. Until now, that power, that strength has been suppressed, inert, and only permitted to express a tiny percentage of its true potential. At the same moment as the locks fail, the chains break. You are seeing the dissolution of the seals that have been placed on your true nature by the very energy that they were designed to retain. There will be no place for doubt or skepticism in the future because of what will occur. The world will no longer be able to ignore what is happening in front of it. Nobody other is like you in any way. You were never the mask you've been wearing. The human clothing that has allowed you to walk through society unnoticed is unraveling, revealing the reality behind it. As you take this step, you enter the unavoidable. It is hard to grasp the momentum that is behind you. It is hard to measure the energy that sustains you. Nothing can halt what has already started. There is no power on earth or beyond it that can prevent what is going to happen next. The only choice is whether you will go ahead with the confidence that is appropriate for your position, or if you will shrink from your own grandeur. As a result, you become the solitary impediment to your progress that invisible forces cannot overcome. Finally, it is time to drape the final of the veils. Everything that has hitherto been hidden will now be shown to you, not gradually or in stages, but in a flood of revelation that will entirely transform your vision of reality itself. The truth, long concealed by control systems, buried behind layers of deceit, and guarded by those who profit from people's ignorance, will no longer escape your grasp. In its present form, it rises from the depths like a massive beast. It has tremendous, undeniable, and transformational implications. Your perspective is much superior than the typical person's. You will be able to see through every lie, every phony reality, and every deception that has been created to keep you concealed, and you will be able to determine a person's motivations via their words. Facial expressions will become more transparent in the presence of your increased awareness, exposing the actual emotions that lurk underlying the masks. Control mechanisms will be taken down, revealing the systems that enable them to work. The knowledge that they never meant for you to have is now in your hands, demonstrating that reality itself is malleable. Being open to awareness and vulnerable to the will of people who have awakened to their true nature is a realization known as mindfulness. At the point that you genuinely embrace this understanding, there's no going back. You will never have the same understanding of the world as you had before. In the future, you will never accept the limits that others claim are the natural condition of things. You will never again agree to play by rules meant to keep you restricted. This understanding of being includes both liberation and obligation. It represents both power and burden. It is one that marks both the end and the beginning. Are you willing to learn something that cannot be learned? There is no longer any time for questions. The interim period of uncertainty has ended. It is no longer required to consider what-if scenarios. You have a profound awareness of who you are that is deeply ingrained in your being, in the quantum field of your consciousness, and at the very heart of your existence. Do you know that acknowledgement may come in the form of a whisper or a roar? However, it will come with absolute clarity and firm conviction. You are no longer a victim of society's illusions. Their opinions are meaningless and have no power to impact you. They disappear like ash from the sky. Your awakened presence creates their expectations, which they built to limit your ability to dissolve in the face of your existence. This time, you are in charge, not by using force, not by striving or using the methods of the prior paradigm. Person the person you were always meant to be, and embodying it to the point that reality has no choice but to reorganize itself around you, is how you take charge of your life. Those who previously ignored you, yelled over you in meetings, overlooked your contributions, and dismissed your ideas as insignificant will recoil when they realize who you have become. This is not because you want revenge. Rather, it is because your mere presence will show the insignificance that they had previously neglected as a kind of protection. They accepted these limits in order to escape the responsibility that comes with greatness. It is no longer true that you are subject to the rules that govern ordinary life. When it comes to probability, your goals are critical. It is a matter of coincidence that things work out in your favor. Causality responds to the direction you intentionally push it. You have broken free from the constraints imposed by the programming. Just wait and see what happens at the time. The acceleration begins. What used to take years to develop will now take months. What formerly took months to create will now take just a few weeks. A work that used to take weeks of effort will now be finished in only a few days. The gap between thinking and manifestation is gradually closing, and the distance between one's objectives and the real world is shrinking. The distinction between what you envision and what truly exists in the physical world is becoming more blurred right in front of your eyes. Something that seems unattainable in the past will develop so naturally that you will wonder how you ever doubted its authenticity. The regularity with which once-in-a-lifetime possibilities are now accessible to you is astonishing. There will be moments of synchronistic perfection that will result in relationships that would have taken decades to build. The limits that were originally put on you, such as time, probability, resource, and connection regulations, have lost their importance. There was never a period when these were absolute rules. Your awareness frequency has altered, and these limitations have always been context-dependent. They are only relevant to persons who operate at particular levels of awareness. Individuals who were previously unable or unwilling to see your genuine nature will now be obliged to do so because they have no other alternative. The power of your manifestation will become so clear and unchangeable that even the most ardent doubters will be forced to admit that something extraordinary is happening as a result of your efforts. Feel it rise up within you. The ambiguity that previously hampered your decision-making is no longer present. Fear, which had previously kept you from taking action, has evaporated. The uncertainty that had earlier hampered your view disappeared. Something new has emerged, a clarity so pure that it can cut through the chaos. Lightning may pierce through the gloom. There is a deep confidence that extinguishes doubt, a power so basic that it may change the entire nature of reality just by being there. Because your energy precedes you, you have become a force of nature, an unstoppable storm that no one could have predicted. It has the ability to restructure circumstances before you ever engage with them. The world will inevitably surrender or crumble in the face of this power, but it will never neglect you again. It cannot overlook you. You can no longer be dismissed or ignored because you have become too strong, present, and real. People who agree with your objective will be elevated as a consequence of your presence. Those who oppose will find themselves driven to the edges of a world based on your awakened strength. They will find themselves more insignificant. Not ego. Is this true at all? We're not being arrogant here. This is the natural manifestation of your true self. When all limitations are eliminated from your life, luck has no function in it. This was not a question of destiny. The topic at hand was inevitability. Only 3 of the billions of applicants will be chosen for reasons that are beyond human comprehension, conventional logic, and the limited viewpoint of three-dimensional thinking. Bernd, you're in first place. The change has begun. It is not feasible to stop it. It is not feasible to reverse it. It cannot be contained. The energy that is now flowing within you will have an impact on everything it comes into touch with, including your thoughts, body, environment, relationships, and even your very existence. Whoever has the capacity to see will be able to identify what is going on. They will either support your ascension or leave your path. There is no compromise in this circumstance, no matter which alternative they select. There is no intermediate stance to take. Clarity is the only thing that is acceptable to the growing force inside you, which seeks a reaction and approval. Now keep an eye out for what happens next. Be a witness to the materialization of what was written before the beginning of time, as reality reorganizes itself around your waking. You should notice the manifestation of your genuine strength. The familiar world is coming to an end. Your prior self is going through a metamorphosis. The power you've always held is starting to appear on the list. There are just 3 people. Your name appears at the top of the list for a particular reason. Now is the time to act. Dear viewers, Your support through Super Chat and membership is the only source of income that keeps this channel running. If you want me to continue uploading valuable content without delays and to stay motivated in providing you with the best wisdom, I need your help. Every contribution, big or small, makes a huge difference. Feel free to donate and support Pure Wisdom so we can keep growing together. Your generosity keeps this journey alive. Thank you for being part of this amazing community. If you're enjoying the content on Pure Wisdom and find value in the messages we share, I encourage you to subscribe. Based on the latest analytics, 93.9% of viewers are watching without subscribing. By subscribing, you not only stay updated with new content, but also support the channel's growth, allowing us to continue spreading wisdom for the chosen ones. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an important message. Let's build this community together.